First and foremost, we have a lot of people either first launching their brands, okay, or actually about to scale their brands, which is really, really cool. So I wanted to make sure we go through foundation of scaling today. Okay, walking us through the actual proper foundation to start your ads, okay, all the way to launching big budget campaigns and scaling to multi-six-figure months, etc. My goal here today is to make sure that we understand the exact foundation that is most consistent and the exact foundation that will take you to less volatility in your business. Everything starts with the foundation, like I mentioned. Okay, and without a foundation, you will not be able to scale. Okay, every business I've built, every store that I've ran, including the stores I'm running now, all have this exact foundation. Let me go ahead and walk you guys through a few things. So first and foremost, okay, we are accustomed to doing 12 audiences. Okay, we're accustomed to doing 12 audiences in our algorithmic targeting campaign. Okay, recently, Facebook actually just removed the affinity column. Okay, so the affinity column is no longer active, which means we now have 11 audiences instead of 12 that we'll be launching with. Take a look over here. Okay, we have 4 columns that are single interest, 4 columns that are 2 to 8 keywords with no narrow, and 3 columns that are 2 to 8 keywords with the narrow. Okay, those are known as our styles. And it's important you understand a few things here. We utilize different styles in our targeting because no 2 ad accounts and no 2 products will act the same, even if you're launching the same item in 2 different ad accounts. It's important for us to go ahead and be aware of what specific columns and keywords are performing best on our certain product launches. Let's say we have a brand that we go ahead and we start to develop, okay, or a certain product we want to go ahead and start launching. We have no idea as to what corner of the market is going to actually like our offer or buy our offer the best, okay, or the most, which means it's with our best interest to separate each specific column into a very strict style that allows us to say, hey, single interest is doing best for me. Hey, narrowing is doing best for me, or hey, no narrowing is doing best for me. Or hey, magazine columns are doing best for me, or types of columns are doing the best for me, okay? Or passionate keywords are doing the best for me. It's important that we segment our keywords early on in the launch phase because this is going to give you data that your competition and you wouldn't have had or will not have if you're not doing targeting like this, okay? Single interest across the board is great, right? Generalized keywords are great. Facebook likes large audiences, but our best interest is our education of our market and our own data, which means that if we can utilize certain styles of targeting to better understand what does best in our specific product and niche, that's going to serve us very, very well after we start scaling because we know what audiences to go ahead and launch more of. We'll know what audiences to go ahead and start scaling and actually increasing budget on, rather than looking at random single interest keywords and just guessing, oh, let's scale this and this and whatever. That's how you lose money, okay, and are not going to be massively effective when doing. Let's talk about our styles. We say no narrow, narrow, and single interest. Facebook loves large keywords, okay? They love large single interest keywords. It does very, very well these days, okay? But it's not saying that it's going to be doing and outperforming no narrow stacked keywords or narrowed stacked keywords every single time. You need to have your diversification of your targeting in place. And what's so important here and why I'm so passionate about this, because this gives you, like I said, an edge, okay, an edge on your specific market moving forward, because you now have more data and more understanding for what's actually doing best. As we get sales with our algorithmic targeting campaign, we do a few things. What happens here? We get sale number 1 within 3-day rule. Keep this in mind. Day 1, no view content, we kill it. Day 2, no add to cart, we kill it. And day 3, no purchase, we kill it. That's the 3-day rule. When we get a sale within that 3-day rule, we use the 5x duplication rule. What we're doing here is we're recognizing that that audience found a pocket of buyers that is buying our product. And every single ad set, as we know, will have continual winning pockets and losing pockets. And that's why some days you can have a consistent business doing 6 figures a month, and then one day it just shits the bed. But the next day it does well because it found losing pockets that day, okay? It's all about the pockets, guys. What's important here is we understand that when we're duplicating our audiences, it is because our audience has hopefully found a winning pocket. It could be a fluke where we just got a sale and we're never going to sell again. But it's important that we go ahead and take advantage of that sale and start the foundational process early. So we get sale 1, we duplicate, okay? Now, if we don't get a sale, like we said, by day 3, We kill and turn off the audience. What determines a successful e-commerce entrepreneur from a non-successful one is the man or the lady who understands when to kill early. Don't be the guy who says, oh, the CTR is so good today. Okay, let me go ahead and ultimately keep it running for a bit longer. Okay, no, we follow the 3-day rule for a reason within the first 3 days. Okay, because we're very brutal with our killing and very brutal with our scaling as well. As we move forward, we're starting to develop a large foundation of duplicated audiences. These duplicated audiences are going to act as our foundation, like I've mentioned, to build on top of. Okay, with that being said, as we're doing this, we're also going to be taking note of how many sales we're getting as well. We're aiming for the 25th sale where we start creating our remarketing campaigns. Our remarketing campaign is going to be our omnipresent force field, which essentially is going to be where our people who didn't buy the first time around, as we all know, have a chance to buy the second or third or fourth time around they get hit with the advertisement. We will either launch with one or two ways. Way one is launching every single custom audience, okay? All custom audiences in one separate campaign. View content, add to cart, initiate checkout, purchase, video viewers, etc. Every single custom audience should be a different ad set in the same campaign, okay? When you separate them with the new iOS changes, you will get better results when you are separating them. No more adding all of your remarketing in one conglomerate ad set and putting it into one campaign. No more, okay? No more. It's all separate custom audience creation and ad set level creation. We either start with a $1.50 budget or a $5 budget. If you're someone who doesn't care about ad spend, and you want to be aggressive and build, do $5 like I do. But if you're someone who's very sparing and wants to be very cautious with every cent, do $1.50, okay? Because that's ultimately going to be able to slow cook and still get you results over the week. Because remarketing we're looking at from a 5 to 7 day window, not a 3-day window like we are for our cold traffic audiences. Remarketing, the point is to let it cook for around 5 to 7 days, about a week, because that's when it starts to perform. What is the goal after we actually have our algo running, our duplications running, and our own marketing running? What do we do here? Our goal, ladies and gents, is to get to micro big bang, that 100th sale. That is our goal, to get to that 100th sale. That is the light at the end of the tunnel. And that's where we all should be effortlessly trying to get to, okay? Because that's where things can really change for the better. And that's where some businesses and some stores will never be the same ever again, in a very, very good, positive way. And I'll go out there and say it. I think this system is one of the most consistent systems ever put out in the e-commerce industry ever. Okay. So we reached our 100th sale from the 20% edit rule and dissection and algorithmic and remarketing. Awesome. Congratulations. You basically reached the checkpoint. Okay. You want to go ahead and build your relative custom audiences. Okay. For purchase, initiate checkout, add to cart, view content, website, content viewer, etc. We're not going to be stacking audiences within one another. We're going to keep everything separate. Everything's separate. Okay, so with this, we're going to be having, website viewer, purchase, initiate, check, everything separate in their own actual custom audience. And what happens here is the following, guys. So we're using the core 4 countries, USA, Canada, UK, Australia. So 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, 5% for our actual custom audiences. Okay, then 5 to 6, 6 to 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 9, 9 to 10. We're only going to be launching 1 to 5 at first, which is 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%. 1% means it's going to find like 1 to 2 million people, okay, that are similar to the people who have purchased from you. 2% means it's going to find like 2 to 3 million people who are similar who have purchased from you. 3% means it's going to find like 3 to 4 million people who are similar to people who have purchased from you. With that being said, we have created all of our custom audiences. Keep in mind, you have to create the custom audiences and then create the lookalikes in advance, because it does take a day or two to populate. As we move through here, we're going to have, all of our custom audiences in 5 audiences apiece, which means essentially it's going to be around 100 audiences, okay? All launched at around $1.50, which is really cool, okay? It's not that big of a budget to launch, especially when you're already at this checkpoint. Keep in mind, when you're at this checkpoint, you've already been doing pretty well. So you got something that's proven, you have data, and this usually is like the light at the end of the tunnel where you're like, oh my God, this is actually scaling, right? This is like that moment. Okay, $1.50 budget, same post ID. When you're making the duplications, now it's going to automatically just kind of copy the same ad over for you. So you don't have to really worry much about the ID. Okay, what you have to worry about is using 7-day click. Okay, and it's all in one campaign. This micro big bang is in its own separate micro big bang campaign. 7-day click we use for audiences that we know are going to slow cook. 1-day click we use for audiences that we know are going to go ahead and keep moving and scaling thereafter. Micro big bangs is a slow cook campaign, because take a look here. We run it for 8 days. On day 5, okay, to 8, you will start to go ahead and trim off the audiences that suck and do not perform up to par. If it's at break even, leave it on. If it's below break even, turn it off. We have lots of audiences running that are getting us lots of sales. There's no use to have audiences that are losing money on. And then we're going to continue to slow cook the actual MBB campaign. Keep in mind, the MBB campaign we're using as food for the CBOs down the road. That's why we call it the farm system. We're making a farm to feed the CBOs down the road. As we do well with Micro Big Bang, we're at the 8th day, we're profitable. Awesome. Very, very cool. Now, what do? We go ahead and duplicate this entire campaign over to a Big Bang campaign. But the only thing that I want to mention here, when we have these specific audiences, even the audiences that we turned off, we're still going to duplicate again into the Big Bang. Because a lot of the time, the audiences that didn't do well will do well in Big Bang, okay? When they're launched again on a higher budget. So if they didn't do well in Micro Big Bang, don't automatically assume they won't do well in Big Bang. But the following is this. We're following the specific 3-day rule on those specific audiences as well. Now, with that being said, the Big Bang is the same exact everything, except the budget is just $5 now. Nothing is different. We just duplicate this campaign again to a new campaign and call it Big Bang now and make all the budgets $5. But we're going to follow the 3-day rule for these audiences because they're on a $5 budget. Keep that in mind. So when we get to here, Big Bang, Micro Big Bang, dissection, duplication, retargeting, okay? All of that stuff running at the same time. It's a lot of stuff running. We've got a big operation running now, guys. We're doing some numbers here. CBO is what takes us to Neverland. This takes you a pretty high scale. What we do in CBO is we identify our 5 to 8 most profitable audiences from Micro Big Bang first. Micro Big Bang audiences and Big Bang audiences will always be separate and never joined together. We put them into a $150 starter budget CBO. 1-day click because we're going to be constantly optimizing this actual campaign. The whole reason that we take from our Micro Big Bang audience is because it's important that we are understanding that we're slow cooking Micro Big Bang to see the most profitable audiences here, because we're about to take them and put them into CBO. And we want to go ahead and take the best, most profitable audiences possibly. Okay. We're going to be running this for 3 to 5 days. The CBO needs time to optimize, which means we actually literally need to optimize it for 3 to 5 days. Okay. We need to really optimize it. Okay. Day 1 might be break even, maybe a loss. Usually it will be around break even. Don't let that deter you from running it to the next day though, because CBO, keep in mind, guys, is different. It's like Google Ads. It optimizes on a campaign level, not an ad set level, which means as we have our actual CBO running, it's going to optimize further constantly as it gets every single sale, which means day 1's like a rough draft. Day 2, it begins to go ahead and scale forward. CBO stands for campaign budget optimization. The campaign is literally optimizing its budget constantly as it gets sales, right? Which is so cool. So it's optimizing as it gets sales. It's different than just running a normal ad set level. CBO is different than ABO. CBO optimizes on a campaign level. ABO optimizes on an ad set level. Once we start to see profitability, we're going to increase it by 20% daily when profitable. When the ROAS decreases and we see certain audiences, okay, of the 5 to 8 audiences that are in the CBO performing poorly, we're going to remove those audiences and replace them with the next best audiences from our Micro Big Bang campaign that are profitable. But oftentimes you could run for like a good amount of time with the CBO doing very well. What we're going to be doing here is constantly increasing the actual budget on the CBO as it continues to maintain profitability. You could be doing this for weeks on end, guys. Okay, constantly increasing the budget. Okay, and what's magic here is after you do that for your Micro Big Bang, you go ahead and also do it for your Macro Big Bang, your Big Bang audience as well. Same exact everything, okay, but for Macro Big Bang. So essentially you have algorithmic targeting running, remarketing running, 5x duplication running, dissection running, Micro Big Bang running, Big Bang running, CBO Big Bang running, and CBO Micro Big Bang running. Lots of high budget scale campaigns that once you get to this point, you're going to be doing some great numbers.